Let's talk about hunting for scholarships, an amazing resource that can help families pay for college and career school. So first, what are scholarships? They're gifts. They don't have to be repaid. They're provided in a variety of criteria, in a variety of ways to help defray educational expenses, to reduce out-of-pocket costs, and borrowing. They're great for students and families who have high need, whether it is through a high student aid index or the need to replace for loss of savings. Funds are distributed to students and schools, and sometimes because the money does go to a school, it can cause a scholarship displacement. So where are they? What kind are they? Well, the typical ones are merit-based. They're alumni affiliated. You've all heard of athletic scholarships, and there are those that are available for individuals in the performing arts, dance, music, theater, chorus. They're available through colleges and universities, philanthropic donors, your employers, businesses, foundations, clubs, and professional associations that you and your family members may belong to. How do we get started? We want to build a profile, something to do your searches, queries, ways to build keywords, phrases. Through Pivotal College Years and our scholarship workbook, we have a questionnaire that you can use. The idea is to form a variety of pieces of information about the student, their hobbies, their interests, and the family that they come from. You want to create a digital folder to store information to make the process easier once you find one and need to apply. High school resume, PDF of a student aid index for those that are need-based along with merit, recommendations, transcripts, information that has written samplings that you can fall back on to help write essays that are many times required. You want to have a tracking form so that you can keep track of the scholarships that you find, the ones where you might have missed the deadline, and those in which you need to apply for once you become a college student. It's highly recommended that you allocate time. It can be a daunting process looking for scholarships, so I recommend 1 hour a day, 3 days a week, and maybe the weekend to do searches, build up the database, and apply. It's a family affair. Students are busy, parents are busy. If we do it together, then we're working on them, maybe in a competitive way, but we're working on them to try to find them. Parents can search, find, and even apply if you have the right information. So you want to identify them, you want to review eligibility criteria, and you want to apply. And you want to be persistent. So how do you search? Well, you search based on a variety of things. Students' majors, their interests, hobbies, their gifts and talents, lifestyle, characteristics. I was always told that there was a scholarship for a left-handed individual who liked political science. Found the political science, not the left-handed scholarship. But you need to search. You use keywords. Find the application, find the website, use keywords to get there. You change the keywords, you change the phrase, you change the way you search using the various tools that we'll talk about in a second. And many times there's scholarships that are sitting in the cloud that if you attach PDF to the trailer, you'll find last year's application and be ready for this year. What tools do you use? Well, you can use Google, you can use AI, you can sign up and use any one of a number of search engine organizations. I like Scholarship America, FastWeb, and Dave the Scholarship Coach. You can sign up, provide some limited information, meaning no GPA, no test scores, because many of these organizations are going to send information to colleges too as lead generators, which is fine, but you don't want to give away too much information. But they will send you information on scholarships on a daily basis. So you hunt using Google and AI or another website or another browser, and you use companies like Scholarship America and FastWeb and Dave the Scholarship Coach to send you information on a regular basis. You can also look at the Department of Labor's Career Center, the College Board's Opportunity Program, and specific schools and universities, as I'll talk about in a second. Where are they hiding? Well, from the standpoint of colleges and universities, when you apply for admissions, the school will score you and your student against their profile of scholarships. GPA, test score, characteristics, essay, and other information is used to award those scholarships, the presidential, the trustee, as examples, during the application and admissions process. When they send you information about being accepted, generally speaking, there's a scholarship in that award. They're also available separately through the alumni office. And for large colleges that have what we refer to as colleges within the big college, they many times have their own scholarship programs that you can search out. You can also be invited to them. You can be invited to apply for a scholarship or even invited as part of the honors program. The next place is going to be high school graduation. Usually in the spring, the high school's guidance department will put out a notice to students that the application is ready to apply either for individual scholarships or one application for a whole series. You want to get them in on time with all the associated documentation. And then you look next door. And by that I mean, if you live in a particular city or town and you read the eligibility of a scholarship, it may say high school senior or resident of the county. You may not be going to that high school, but you may live in that county, so you're eligible to apply for that scholarship if you meet the other criteria. Those are sometimes diamonds in a rough. You're also looking at those that are unique and niche scholarships based on those browser search keywords as well as phrases. You want to be looking at, again, foundations, work, other places that are unique to your family and your student. And then there are the national scholarships. Sometimes they're no essay required sweepstakes scholarships. There may be big dollars, but only one is applied for or awarded. So you want to take a look at those. Be aware, those organizations are generally capturing information as part of lead generations for their own practice and businesses, and you want to be sure you're only giving out basic geographic and family information. So here's an example of a search that we did. Put it in based on the various query, you get the results, and you have to investigate those along the way. So it's time consuming. It does require some research and some due diligence, but as you find them, either when you are in 9th or 10th or 11th grade, you're amassing a database that you're going to use in your senior year, or you're applying in your senior year. And don't forget, when you are in college, you still complete scholarship applications. So again, some tips. You want to have fun. Make it a family exercise. Make it a competition. How many scholarships does your son and daughter look for, find, and apply for compared to you as a parent? And what's the reward that each has to give each other if we're finding it? I consider looking for scholarships to be equal to a part-time job, that if you allocate the time during the day and during the week, and you find a couple good size renewable scholarships, that may be worth the time you're putting into a part-time job. You want to set up those daily Google and search site alerts so information's coming to you as much as you're getting to do the searches too. Monitor deadlines, keep records, keep looking under those rocks and investigating opportunities. Apply now, apply when you're enrolled, apply when you're an upperclassman. If you miss a deadline, many times the scholarship criteria may say high school student currently enrolled freshman, sophomore, or junior in college. So you got to be resilient. You got to be looking at it on a regular basis. Be careful of some of the scams that might exist. Yes, you can pay legitimate organizations and individuals to do scholarship searches for you. But beyond that, you want to be careful of protecting your information and not being lured into providing information like bank accounts, credit card information, Social Security information. And I would go so far as GPA and national test scores, depending upon the actual scholarship. So be conscious of that. Every scholarship should be awarded in a letter or in a confirmation through a program. And here's an example of some of the scholarships that you might find either in your local area or nationally. And to make a point about Pivotal College Years in the scholarship workbook, we're happy to provide information here on how to sign up. You can take a look at Pivotal, use our code PC30 to examine the site and see if you want to use it on a regular basis.